What's going on, guys, and welcome back. Today we are creating the lower dash. So the first thing we have to do in order to get everything out is we're going to remove the steering column. We're also going to have to remove all these gauges. But before we do that, we're going to have to create labels so that way I know exactly what all these wires go to back here. So when I hook up the analog, the NEMA 2000 connector, I'll know what goes to what gauge. So let's go ahead and get started.
Welcome back under the console, guys. So let's start with the softball over here. This is going to be the battery gauge. So this one is very simple to wire up. You're just going to have your power in, and this is your ignition source right here. So you'll have your ignition source coming in and your ground coming out. Up here, this largest gauge that we have is going to be your RPM. So the gray is going to be our sender wire, and you also have your ignition coming in, and you're going to have your ground coming out. So that one is also very simple. So the only one we need to make a label for here is our sender wire. Over here, this is going to be our trim, which I know that the white and gray cable here is going to be our trim sender wire. And then you also have your ignition going into this, and you have your ground going out. On this side, we have our engine hours, which you're just going to have your ground coming in and your ignition wire coming out. Right here is going to be your gas gauge, which I know from previously that the pink wire behind me is going to be the sender for this one. Then you're going to have your ground and your ignition wires. Your ignition wire all comes into your common alarm circuitry, and so does your ground. So now that we know, let's go ahead and go make the labels on the computer, print those out, put these on the cables, and start removing everything.
So here we are in the office, and we're about to create our labels. I know I haven't shown you guys these before, but these are the label sheets I'm using. They are Mr. Label, if it'll focus, and they are MR175. I bought these off of Amazon. They were not too expensive. They're supposed to be waterproof, and there's a template online. I'm going to bring you guys in close, but basically what you're going to want to do is you're going to get these, and you're going to print off a paper, make sure that it matches up properly, which I already threw away here. You're going to make sure you're going to print off a test label, and you're going to match it up with a paper and make sure that it matches up with actual labels. I'm going to go ahead and take you through that process really quick, show you what I had to do. So I'm going to show you, if you buy these labels, how to make perfect labels. So from your desktop, you're just going to go ahead and go to your internet, your Google search. You're going to put in Mr. Label. You're going to go to the Mr. Label home, go to Templates, A4, Create Labels. And the ones that I bought, as you can see here, they are the MR175. So I'm going to click on the MR175. I don't know if you guys can read that here. Click on that. And you're going to click on Landscape Template, so the Word document template. So go ahead and download that. When it completes downloading, it'll be in your downloads. And there it is, Mr. Label template. So this is the way it looks for me. It is not currently landscaped. So what I had to do, File, Page Setup, Landscape, and then also go to the A4, OK. So this was not all I had to do. I also had to come over here, if they'll let me do it, right on the top here, and you're going to have to lower that down. Just hit enter once, and that is exactly what I had to do. Now you go in here and write whatever you want in the labels, and like I said, you're going to come here and just go ahead and print it out. When it prints out, you're going to match up that printout sheet with the paper and make sure that all the labels line up. If you do all this, you're going to get nice perfect labels like I have here. Alright guys, so we have everything where we want it, so let's go ahead and print it. There we are, guys. Perfect labels. Let's get back under this dash and install these labels.
So back under the console, the first gauge we're going to remove is the engine hour gauge. So let's go ahead and do that. Alright, so we have the ignition going to the positive, and the negative is obviously your black ground. In the future, we're going to be getting rid of the fuel gauge, so we're going to be supplying these directly to the engine hour gauge, then from this directly to the alarm circuitry. So this is going to be getting our labels, engine hour ground, and our engine hours ignition. One thing I didn't say earlier is when you are printing these labels off, make sure you get the words as low as possible in the colored section of the box, because that is what you're going to be able to read once you actually install these on your cables. So now that those are in, we can go ahead and pull out the gauge completely. Okay, so follow these up and you're going to have, again, your ground and your ignition go into your alarm circuitry. So let's go ahead and take that off. We can also put engine hour ground on this cable. And engine hour ignition. So now that we have that, we can go ahead and remove our alarm gauge. Alright, next up, let's go ahead and take off our fuel gauge. Right here, this cable is our trim sender. So let's go ahead and label this one. Over here we have our RPM sender. The trim gauge out. Also going to label our ignition. Alright, so all of our gauges are removed, everything is labeled. Let's tuck these wires back up under here. And there's only one more thing holding this in, and that is our steering. So I already loosened these bolts, so let's go ahead and take these out. Now this next part I am not looking forward to because I am expecting some oil to come out. So I have a catch bucket here, and we're going to loosen these hydraulic fittings. So now that we have that out of here, hopefully we'll be able to pop this out. Okay, and I want to plug these back in, so that way we're not losing any oil. Alright guys, let's go take out the console lower dash. Alright guys, now that everything is removed from underneath, we're able to remove our lower dash. So we've got a little oil everywhere. It's good practice to go ahead and clean all that up. Alright, we're going to stow that under there, and let's go ahead and clean up all these nuts and bolts that we have and all the gauges. And let's get to creating a new lower dash. Alright guys, so I don't want my videos running too long, so I'm going to end this video here. But the next video, we're going to be cutting out and mocking up the new dash, so please stay tuned for that. If you like this video, please comment, like, and subscribe below. Thank you. Have a nice day.